Hi everyone, it's Paula. Welcome back to the channel. If you missed what happened yesterday, honestly, this might have been one of the biggest regulatory shifts we've seen in crypto for years. The CFTC, that's the US Commodity Futures Trading Commission, just made a move that completely changes the landscape for crypto trading in America. They've officially approved spot crypto trading on regulated US exchanges. And yes, that includes XRP being eligible for US spot markets for the first time ever under a federal framework. But that's not all. On the very same day, they also confirmed they're coming after more than 20 major crypto firms. This is a proper turning point. And in today's video, I'm going to break down all of this in a way that makes sense. We're going to talk about who the CFTC actually are, how they differ from the SEC, why they're suddenly rising in power, and what Project Crypto means, what yesterday's announcement really means for XRP, and why a whole list of companies are now in the firing line. So let's get into it. Whenever people hear US regulators, they usually think of the SEC, but the SEC is only half the story, and arguably, not even the most important half anymore. The CFTC is the regulator that oversees commodities, futures, derivatives, and the structure of global trading markets. Think oil, wheat, gold, interest rate swaps, and now increasingly crypto assets. Their job isn't to decide whether something is a security. Their job is to keep markets fair, transparent, liquid, and free from manipulation. And something that most people don't realise. The chair of the CFTC is appointed directly by the President of the United States. The President appoints all 5 commissioners, picks one to serve as chair, and the Senate confirms it. In this moment we're in right now, it's especially important because the CFTC's leadership is going through massive change. Earlier this year, Rustin Benham stepped down as chair. Caroline D. Pham, who many of you might know because of her work on Project Crypto, is currently serving as acting chair. But that's not the final structure. Trump recently selected Michael Selig, a digital asset specialist who worked directly on crypto policy inside the SEC. Selig is currently awaiting Senate confirmation. If approved, he becomes the new permanent chair of the CFTC. So we're in this fascinating moment where the CFTC is already asserting itself in crypto, acting leadership is in place, and a new chair who understands digital assets better than almost anyone in Washington may soon take over. This leadership transition is one of the reasons you're seeing such dramatic shifts in tone. Washington isn't just changing the rules, they're changing the people who write the rules. So let's clear up. How does the CFTC differ from the SEC? The SEC views most crypto as unregistered securities, which is why we've had years of lawsuits, delisting, panic, hesitation, and endless confusion. The CFTC sees many digital assets as commodities, which makes them easier to regulate, easier to trade, and easier for institutions to adopt. Under the SEC, everything turns into a legal fight. Under the CFTC, everything turns into a market. That's why Bitcoin futures, Ethereum futures, and even XRP derivatives have existed under the CFTC for years, fully regulated. With yesterday's announcement, the CFTC has signalled, we're not waiting anymore. Crypto is here, and we're building the framework for it. Now let's talk about Project Crypto. This is a real internal CFTC initiative led by Commissioner Caroline Pham. Its purpose is to create a fully defined regulatory framework for digital commodities. That includes spot markets, derivatives, oversight for exchanges, stablecoin classification, global coordination, and even tokenized real-world assets. Project Crypto is essentially the blueprint for what the US really wants crypto regulation to look like, and it leans heavily towards CFTC oversight, not the SEC. And yesterday's announcement was the first big public sign that this shift is no longer theoretical, it's happening. So let's get to that headline moment. Yesterday, the CFTC approved spot crypto trading on CFTC-registered exchanges for the first time in history. This is huge because up until now, they only regulated futures and derivatives. Spot markets, those were outside of their domain. But with this new framework, regulated US exchanges can apply to list spot crypto. Digital assets can be traded like commodities, and federal oversight finally exists for spot markets. And here's the key moment. This opens a fully legal pathway for XRP to return to US spot markets. No, XRP wasn't individually named. No, it didn't suddenly go live yesterday. But under this framework, any digital commodity can be listed, including XRP, if an exchange applies. And XRP is already treated as a commodity in CFTC-regulated derivatives markets. So for the first time in years, XRP has a clean, federal, regulated road back onto US exchanges. And that alone is massive. Now here's the part nobody saw coming. On the exact same day they opened the door for spot trading, the CFTC confirmed that they are actively investigating more than 20 crypto companies. This includes unregistered exchanges, liquidity providers, brokers, trading firms, DeFi platforms with US users, and even, potentially, influencers. No names were released, but the categories they listed give you a very clear picture of who they believe is operating outside of the rules. And this tells you exactly where the US is heading. Crypto isn't being shut down. Crypto isn't being banned. Crypto is being formalized. This is the transition from the Wild West to a regulated, structured, institution-ready market. And honestly, this is the moment big banks and big funds have been waiting for. So here's the bottom line. The CFTC just made the biggest move we've seen in years. They approved regulated spot crypto trading. They opened the door for assets like XRP to come back to US markets. They're restructuring leadership with a new chair who understands digital assets. And at the same time, they're cleaning up the industry by investigating more than 20 companies. This is not small. This is not a side story. This is the beginning of the US shifting from confusion to clarity. And if you want to stay on top of this kind of news, not just the headlines, but what it really means, come and join us inside the Crypto Wolfpack. It's a community of real people navigating crypto together, reading charts, understanding the macro, and making sense of the chaos so we never feel like we're doing this alone. And if you want to know the exact strategies we use to make money in both the bull market and the bear market, the link to the free course that we have created is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.